You'll see Anna, Daly, and Linus sail offshore from the Tuamotos to Tahiti on their last offshore passage of the season to meet Janna and Sophie in Tahiti, where Linus, Janna, and Sophie will see the sights. Subscribe to Slowboat Sailing so you can see the stories of the most interesting sailors in the world, like the pirate Mayday of a Pacific puddle jumper. We got a mild weather report after the front had passed in Fakarava, and we threw off our mooring lines and headed out to the pass. That morning slack water, there were a lot of boats looking to go through the pass, so I was able to call up one of the boats who went through the pass before me and get their advice about the conditions. While there was a little bit more waves in the pass, it was nothing at all dangerous or uncomfortable. Went through without a hitch, and the North Pass is very wide, so several boats can pass at once. We had good sailing for the first day, but the wind was forecast to die down and we would need to motor the last day into Tahiti. The trip's about 250 miles from Fakarava to Tahiti to the west, and it's a downwind run to Papeete. Mooring about 9:30 yesterday, so we've been at sea for about 24 hours now in a 48-hour trip, and we don't have much wind right now. The wind has shifted to the south. It was a little to the northeast, now it's to the south-southeast. And while I did jibe the whisker pole to take advantage of that, I don't think we have enough wind to really justify having the Genoa out because it just creates more drag if we're motor sailing. So I'm gonna roll it up and hopefully we'll get to deploy it later today and tonight. This first morning, our first 24 hours, and we're going to need to probably motor if we want to go any reasonable speed. This will be my last night watch of the season. Since we were making such good time, I thought it would make sense to go straight into Papeete Marina instead of anchoring off at Venus Point, because we'd have to wait around for daylight at Venus Point. We considered going further south to Tahiti Marina, but couldn't get in touch with Tahiti Marina. We also considered the Yacht Club, but the Yacht Club, which is closer to Venus Point on the north side of Tahiti, said they don't take transients anymore, and it's a private member club. In the end, we settled on the Papeete Marina, which was a little bit closer, and went into the very wide pass where you just have to call and request permission to go through so you don't impede any of the fast ferries that run between Papeete and Moorea, Tahiti's sister isle, less than 20 miles away. We circled around in Papeete Harbor for over a half hour trying to hail the marina, and finally I decided to just tie up at their long pontoon, and that's where we ended up staying. It was an easy docking given the calm conditions. It was just harder to avoid the many working boats in the harbor while we waited to hail the marina. I got my first cappuccino in about 6 weeks, and Daly got his first walk in Tahiti. So I tried catching the bus, but I've been waiting for about 2 hours. I finally found the bus station here downtown Papeete, but I have not seen a bus in 2 hours, so I'm going to get a cab to pick up Sophie and Janna. Well, I just saw a bus, but it was going the wrong way, and they said I need to catch it here in front of Hotel de Ville, which is City Hall. But I don't know if I have enough time. I settled on catching a cab, and there's a cab stand right across from the Papeete Marina where I was staying, but I had to backtrack because I was chasing after a bus for a few hours. The plan was to pick up the EcoCar, which is right next to the Airport Hotel, which is across the street from the Papeete Airport, and rent that for a few days so we could do some sightseeing when Janna and Sophie were there, and we could also get fuel and provisions and everything else. The car does pick people up from the marina most of the time, but on that particular day they were too busy and they couldn't pick me up, so I needed to get a ride to the airport. I'm at the Papeete Airport here at 5 a.m. Janna was originally supposed to arrive at midnight, but one of her first connecting flights was delayed, and that caused her to have to change her travel schedule. So the folks are coming out of the LA flight right now. I'm so excited about Sophie and Janna joining the crew here in Tahiti. After we settled into the boat, we visited the Museum of Tahiti and her Isles, which is a drive about halfway down the west coast of Tahiti. So this anchor was cut away by Captain Cook on one of his voyages and was recently recovered in the 20th century, and now is at the entrance of the Musée de Tahiti et des Isles. After we drove back to the marina, the Cheeky Monkey docked right next to us. The Cheeky Monkey is owned by Tasha Hacker and Ryan Horsnail, and it's actually currently up for sale. At the time, they had broken up, and if you're in Sydney, Australia, could pick up a great boat. They were the episode 29 Slow Boat Sailing podcast guests, and their channel Chase the Story has over 35,000 subscribers and 4 million views. We ran into another boat we recognized at the marina. I believe it was up for sale at the time, and it had a new captain, not the one who went through the Panama Canal, when we were rafted to it. Couldn't make coffee this morning because there was a leak. At least we discovered it. It was at the filter. Hopefully, once we reattach it, coffee will be made. We explored the partially open-air Grand Marché. I still regret today that I did not buy the coconut bikini on sale. It's a great place to get fresh fruit and vegetables and grab an inexpensive lunch. The top Companionway Hatch has been on its last leg for about 2 years because I had stepped over it, put my weight on it, and that partially snapped it, but it was still holding together, and we were just gentle with it. But Janna forgot about that, and she picked it up and it snapped in two. But the good thing was I had 2 years or so to figure out how I would fix it, and today I put a little bit of wood epoxy in the cracks, mostly cosmetically, and then the thing that's going to hold it is the backing piece of teak, which I had aboard that I was waiting to drill into it when it finally went.
Arrive at your destination.
Supposedly this is the largest marae here in Tahiti, and it's very nice, and it's going to be part of the Heva celebration, which is going on here in July, and so it's a pretty nice place to visit if you're going to visit a marae. I think this is a good one. And this marae is at PK 22.5, so 22.5 south kilometers. So you can get a bus here. We rented a car today, but a bus is possible if you want to take the day. What was he eating? After the marae, we visited the water gardens of Waipahi to do some hiking and visit their waterfall. I would go on a much longer waterfall hike when Sophie left, but this is a really easy one if you have a short trip and you don't want to do a lot of hiking. The waterfall is only a few steps away from the parking lot, but if you want to do some more stretching of your legs, there's lots of trails, and we took one of the shorter ones.
trail because it descended. The west trail seemed like it went up. This is the river that runs to the waterfall. All right, we are taking the Petite Trail, and Sophie is ready to go. Come back, Sophie. There's Sophie. Mama's getting her. The yellow-orange trail is the shortest trail, and that's about 2.7 kilometers. So it's just under 3K. The green trail, which is the bigger trail, it goes about 5 kilometers, so about twice as far as the yellow trail. So the trail uses green signs at the start on the parts where the green and yellow or the yellow-orange trail are the same. And only when the orange trail splits off from the green trail do they start color coding them orange. So the guide says it takes an hour and 15 minutes to do the yellow-orange hike and 2 hours and 10 minutes to do the green hike. I think we took about 2.5 hours, but we're pretty slow on the yellow-orange hike. So I don't know.
In the next episode of Slowboat Sailing, Janna, Sophie, and Linus sailed to Tahiti's sister island of Moorea, and Janna and Sophie depart the boat, return to Louisiana. Subscribe to Slowboat Sailing and hit the bell notification icon so you don't miss our next video. And check out our video about when I explored the most beautiful island in the Pacific Ocean, Fatuhiva.